Good morning again. Some of you might be thinking, what in the world? This is not 6:30. It's later, and he's already went live once. I got back and looked, and there's something going on, glitching with our internet, so I'm going off data right now. So hopefully this will be clear for you and you can understand. But basically, it's just a retake and a redo. I'm going to try to say what I said before in the earlier devotion. I'll delete that one if this one takes so that you're able to watch it. But hopefully this is not glitchy. Hopefully I'm clear and you can hear. If it's still glitchy, maybe there's something going on with Wi-Fi and internet today. I don't know. But thank you for joining us. The early bird gets the word. Let's go ahead and get into the scripture. This morning is, I've entitled this, Are You Thinking What I'm Thinking? And I read out of 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 3, which says, But with me is a very small thing that I should be judged of you. And man's judgment, yea, I judge not my own self. For I know nothing by myself, yet I am not hereby justified, that he judgeth me is the Lord. Therefore judge nothing before the time, until the Lord come, who both will bring to light the hidden things of darkness, and will make manifest the counsels of the heart, and then shall every man have praise of God. So one of the things that me and my son, I take him to school every morning. I work in Manchester and he goes to school in Pelham. We live in Grootley, so we got a little bit of a drive. And on our drive, what we've started doing is listening to audio books that we want to listen to. We've listened to the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, who's a Christian author, and we are going through The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien, who is also a Christian author, and there's a lot of Christian overtones in those books. But as you're listening to those books, any good author like C.S. Lewis or J.R.R. Tolkien, what they'll do is they'll create characters that you can identify with. And through the story, you start to root for those characters. The good guys, you want to win, and the bad guys, you want them to lose. And they do that, and they paint these pictures, and they tell you a story about these characters. Some books tells you even the characters' thoughts, their desires, their wants, their needs. And some of them, you just know, you don't know their thoughts, but you know the journey that they're on, and you identify with that character, and you start to root for them. Therefore, in those stories, we have heroes and we have villains. Now, what does this have to do with the scripture I read in 1 Corinthians? Paul's talking about that we can't judge other people, and he's talking about the intents of hearts, and the things that's in the darkness will be brought to the light. Too many times we do like this. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? And we start to believe that we can discern what someone else is thinking. Now, sometimes we can guess, but I would imagine if we were able to write it out and take statistics, we're probably only able to guess what somebody else is thinking about 1 to 2 to 3% of the time. And the rest of the time, we are wrong about people's intents, about people's wants, and people's desires. Well, I say this morning as we talk about our Monday motivation, discipline, dedication, and mindset. This has to do with our mind and our thinking and how we think about people and others. For example, several months ago, we was at church, and there was somebody that he disagreed with most every one of us, and he had a dissenting voice, and the way that they acted from that wasn't hospitable, I guess, wasn't truly loving. They got a little irritated and mad. A lot of times when somebody else gets irritated and mad, we get irritated and mad. Well, the next day I'm driving to work and I'm thinking about it. And next thing I know is I'm starting to tell a story in my mind about this person. I'm developing this whole character about this man, thinking, well, he's thinking this and he's doing this and he's doing this because of this. I know that's why he's doing it. You know what I was doing? I was writing a story. I was writing a story and I was trying to think what he was thinking. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? But you know what? He wasn't thinking what I was thinking. And God convicted me of that. He says, how do you know the intents of somebody's heart? You know how we can know this for sure? Think about yourself. So many times there's situations and something happens and we burst through the door and say, if that was me, I would do this, this, and this. But then that situation happens and you don't do this, this, and this. You respond differently. And sometimes the way that we respond to a certain situation even surprises ourselves. Why? Because number one, we're fallen. The heart is deceitfully wicked, and who can know it? When it comes down to it, sometimes you don't even know because your heart leads you, and it's wicked. Sometimes when the rubber meets the road, the way that we think we would respond is not the way we actually respond. So if we can't even determine what we would even think during an actual real situation, then how can we try to determine what somebody else thinks? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? You're not. I don't even know how I would think in a certain situation, or what I would do, or how I'd respond. So I should not write that story about someone else in my mind. Why am I saying this? There might be somebody in your life, and you've told a story about that person in your mind and in your heart. Maybe you've left them for gone. They're no good, and I'm not going to have anything else to do with them, because maybe you had a quarrel, maybe you had a disagreement, but after that disagreement, maybe you started writing a story about that person, and you believe that story that you've told yourself, but that's not who that person is. What are we to do? To be as Christ, to love, to forgive, to reconcile, to seek reconciliation when possible. And that means sometimes the best thing to do, if you've had a disagreement with somebody and you've wrote this story in your mind, to unwrite that story, the best thing to do is just go have a conversation. It's difficult. It's hard. But at least you can start to know their perspective and how they feel and what they were thinking, instead of you trying to think what they're thinking. God bless you. I hope this came through clear as a bell. Please remember to share this on Facebook. It's you that multiplies the message when you share this on Facebook. God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow morning for another Early Bird Gets the Word Daily Devotion.